All right, we are live for episode 10 of the 49 Carats podcast. Welcome back, everybody. I can't believe it's already been 10 episodes. Can you believe it, Steph?
I can't. I feel like we're just getting started, honestly. And I feel like every episode, we get a little better. I don't know
Get a
about
little
you, but
better. I think so
yeah.
too. It's been pretty cool. We recently, surpassed 1,000 total downloads of our podcast. So that was pretty cool. I can't believe that people have clicked the play button 1,000 times. And we almost have 500 followers on Twitter. So we're super excited about that. Follow us at 49K Pod if you haven't already. And thanks everyone for the support, getting us to 10 episodes. I am one of two co-hosts that you guys are listening to for some reason, Angelina Martin, and I'm here with my co-host, Steph Sanchez. Steph, I understand I wanted to hop on and get right into the 49ers history. But we have the first item I wanted to talk about for this week in 49ers history is you recently celebrated a birthday.
Oh man, I did. I'm still somewhat celebrating. I
You're still
mean,
feeling it.
yeah, the big 3-0. So
Nice.
yeah,
I mean,
it's
it was
weird.
last week, but kind of this week in 49ers history, August 19th, 1991. Steph Sanchez was born. Thank God for that, because the podcast would be nothing without her. Uh, obviously, that's not our only This Week in 49ers history, and
we
we
have
have a couple
we
of
have a
good
good one.
ones. Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
excited.
So This Week in 49ers history, August 24th, 2006, after signing a one-day contract with the San Francisco 49ers, Jerry Rice officially retires from the NFL. He ended his career where it began, as many players do with those one-day contracts. And I think it's fun because his one-day contract was $1,985,806.49. So that amount is cute because the first number, 1985, that was his rookie year. Then it had his number 80, his retirement year, 06, and then 49, of course. And when I looked at that number, I was like, what? He got paid $2 million for a one-day contract. But according to the New York Times, the amount was ceremonial and Rice was not actually paid anything when he resigned with the 49ers. So I thought that was a bit of a fun fact. But a lot of people don't like the one-day contracts and view them kind of as like revising history, because it's not really the team that someone retired with. Technically, they didn't play. So what are your thoughts on one-day contracts, Steph? Do you like them? Do you think it's weird, or what are your thoughts?
No, yeah, this is the first I'm hearing people have an issue with that. No, I think they're awesome. I'm excited for like someone like Frank Gore, for example, to do his one-day contract. I think it's just to honor, the team that they spent the most time at and, where they made the most memories. And I think most fans appreciate it. Just to have that last hurrah with a
Yeah,
player retiring.
I think it's like the football purists, the old school, people that
The
view it
boomers.
as like the boomers. We love boomers. Don't get me wrong. I was raised by boomers, but yeah, that's a good way of putting it. Moving on to our next topic, This Week in 49ers history. This one, I mean, if you don't know about this, you've been living under a rock for the past 5 years. On August 26th, San Francisco 49ers quarterback Colin Kaepernick sits in protest during the U.S. national anthem. This was a preseason game against the Green Bay Packers. And he was actually sitting on the bench. And then he had some conversations with Nate Boyer, who's a former Green Beret and NFL player. And it was Nate that actually told him, hey, kneeling might be less disrespectful if you want to try that out. And so then he kneeled actually for the first time at San Diego's Qualcomm Stadium on September 1st. And it was actually that Packers game where he sat on the bench where people actually started to notice it for the first time. And he was asked about it after the game. And I think it's interesting that he was sitting on the bench the first two games before that and no one had noticed. Steph, where were you? Like what was going on in your life in 2016, and what were your thoughts when you first heard that Colin Kaepernick was not standing for the national anthem. And of course, we know that he was doing this to protest police brutality and injustice against people of color.
I mean, I don't remember what I was doing that day, but like I'll never forget like seeing that picture. Like to this day, like I could just picture it in my head. It's like really iconic, even though like he really only did it that one time, the sitting, and then from there he did the kneeling. But I think we'll all remember that picture. And it's funny because it only one person I think posted it, right? I think it's like Jennifer. I don't remember her.
Yeah, and then it was just a firestorm after that. Yeah, it's funny because, you know, like like Marshawn Lynch, he never really stood for the anthem. I don't know, you know, if he did it his whole career, but I know there were times where he didn't stand for the anthem. I'm not sure if his reasons were exactly the same as Colin Kaepernick's, but I think the way that Colin Kaepernick answered questions about it kind of brought it to the forefront of discussions in the country and really let people know like why he was doing it. And it became, I mean, I'm from Turlock, and that's where Colin Kaepernick is from. He went to high school here, and it literally went from, you know, him playing in the Super Bowl 4 years before that, 3 or 4 years before that. And our town was like Kaepernick everything. I mean, you couldn't go anywhere in Turlock without seeing something about Colin Kaepernick, whether it was like a hot dog on the menu, his jersey hanging like front and center in a restaurant. I'm surprised there was never like a statue made for him before he kneeled for the national anthem. But in Turlock, it was wild when he did this protest because the hot dogs were taken off the menu, the jerseys were taken down from the walls. I think one restaurant even used his jersey as like a placemat for the door after that happened. So it was crazy to see these people that had kind of been profiting off of his name and image. Like there was a bakery that sold cookies. They went from profiting off of him to just completely turning their back on him. So, and I think that's, you know, kind of a metaphor for how the country reacted.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. And then I wanted to read this quote that Cap said when he first started doing this protest, when he was being asked, you know, why are you doing this? He said, once again, I'm not anti-American. I love America. I love people. That's why I'm doing this. I want to help make America better. So crazy moment in history. It's safe to say that, you know, no one's ever going to forget what he did.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Yeah. And now that is this week in 49ers history. We're going to move on to some 49ers. Whoa, is there another one?
There was one more.
There is. You could talk about it because I didn't know about the other one.
Wait, did I miss it? Okay,
Maybe.
The first one you said was Jerry Rice, right?
Yes.
Okay, yes. So there's one more. On August 24th, 1946.
Oh, wow.
The 49ers
played
way back. Yeah, taking it way back to the beginning. This is the very first pro football game that the 49ers played as a franchise. And they beat LA, like, you know, our tradition, you know. Back then, the LA team was called the Dons. So LA Dons, weird name.
That's kind of badass.
Dons.
Like Dons, D-O-N?
Yeah.
Like,
D-O-N.
like we're this short for Donald.
I have no idea.
Anyway.
I have no idea. It was a weird name, but they beat LA 17-7. The first franchise touchdown was a 35-yard score by quarterback Parker Hall and wide receiver Hank Norberg. This is the kicker. This is a kicker right here. The tickets were 25 cents.
No. Can you believe
imagine?
That? Hold on. My cat is trying to hang himself in my microphone cord. Get out. Get out of there. Thank you. Okay, we're good. That's wild. 25 cents, dude. Could you imagine?
Cents. Yeah.
I mean, obviously, like, inflation is a thing, so that would never happen. But I remember, like, getting candy bars for 50 cents in my childhood. So it's crazy. Now you can pay, like, $200 and enjoy an NFL game if your team
from the nosebleeds.
Sucks. Yeah, if your team sucks. That sucks for you because that's a pretty penny to watch a loss. So we are happy to hopefully be looking forward to a winning season this year. And unfortunately, we won't be paying 25 cents for tickets. Yeah. All right. So we are moving on now. I'm sorry I almost skipped that because that was an awesome not stat. That was an awesome fun fact, Steph. Now can you tell us about what's happening in 49ers current world? What's going on with the Niner
Man,
news?
we got a lot of news that came in within maybe like the last 24 hours. So I'm gonna try to run through it as quickly as possible. First, we're gonna go back to the before our last episode. So we didn't get to talk about this yet. Josh Rosen was waived, and the team claimed cornerback Devontae Harris, who also played a little bit in that game against the Chargers. What was your
Can I sing something?
What?
Can I sing something really quick?
You want to sing something?
Yeah,
Please
just
do.
for Josh Rosen.
Please do.
Every rosen has its thorn. Okay, thank you. That's all.
That's so funny because I was literally about to ask you, what was that pun with Rosen's name in it that you tweeted?
Every Rosen has its thorn, and his was just
beautiful.
Not being a great quarterback. So there we go. R.I.P.
Unfortunate for him. Yeah, R.I.P.
Yeah.
And in that game against the Chargers, couple injury news from that. Maurice Hurst, he suffered a high ankle sprain, and also Michael Kendricks, linebacker, he has turf toe. So they're going to be out for at least a month. And as we heard yesterday, Michael Kendricks has been placed on injured reserve. So his season is done at this point. So, yeah.
Those high ankle sprains.
Yeah, those are tricky.
Ouchie.
Those are tricky.
Ouchie, ouchie, dude. We've seen those. Oh, thank you, Tessa. Tessa said my song was beautiful. Thank you, girl.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why I made that face when you said high ankle sprain, because good God, like it's the San Francisco high ankle sprains at this point.
Right. Hopefully it's the last we hear of that stinking injury.
Yeah.
This season at least.
Yeah.
But also, Senio Clemente, he is day-to-day with a back injury. Alexander Myers is in the concussion protocol. So that's it for the injury news after that game. And then yesterday, so today that we're recording, it is Wednesday, the 25th. Yesterday, Tuesday, the 49ers cut their roster down from 85 to 80. So we got a few, moves to announce here. They released Shalik Calhoun, cornerback BW Webb, writing on the wall. The writing was on the wall for that guy.
Yeah.
And then a couple waived players, Corbin Kaufusi, and you want to say
Don't say it.
Do you want to say
near, far, where? It's River Craycraft.
Podcast favorite, River Craycraft.
Friend of the pod in our minds, River Craycraft.
We've never actually met him.
We've never met him or spoken to him, but goddamn, did we love him? I mean, I was hopeful that he would at least be a practice squad member, keep him around just so I can have my meme. But I think someone will pick him up.
You think so?
I don't know.
Okay, because I was gonna say, in all seriousness, I think he can probably get back on the practice squad as he was last year.
I hope so.
I think so. I don't think he did quite enough to someone poach him, but
that's true.
Things have happened.
Yeah, I'm just wishful thinking for my guy.
Yeah,
would love to see him on a roster, but
this is true.
It is what it is. So is that all the news stuff?
No, that was half of it. That was half of it. Okay,
carry on.
All right, so next week, because we're going to record on Monday next week. Next Tuesday, they have to cut down from 80 players to 53. So that is going to be, the deepest cut. Where
no pun intended.
We're going to see a lot of players, a lot of good players, I think, are going to end up being cut. So it'll be interesting to see what they do. I think in our next episode, we'll play GM and see who we would cut. But yeah, so that's all the roster news. And then Shanahan also said that the current plan is for players to start in the dress rehearsal game versus the Raiders on Sunday.
That's great news.
And I love your cat.
He's here. Meow, can you
So
meow into
cute.
the microphone for the audio listeners? No, he might be able to purr. Yeah, that's exciting because that's what we all want to see. I mean, let's be real. It's nice to get a feel for the depth of the team in these preseason games by everyone getting playing time. But I want to see, I mean, granted, I don't want to see any injuries, but I also want to see, that first string, see how good this team is going to be. And I would love to see Trey Lance with that first team. So we'll see.
Agreed. And we do have some positive injury news.
What?
We actually have I know, right? It's like we're going to savor this moment, okay? So Jaquiski Tart was activated from the pup list. Again, not a list for puppies, is the physically unable to perform list. So he is activated, and the hope is that he will suit up on Sunday. And I think he's going to practice today. So I think they're practicing right now as we speak.
That's huge.
Trent Williams is also back at practice today. Nick Bosa is going to participate in team drills for the first time this offseason. Yeah, dun, dun, like that one. Sound the alarm. Emergency pod. Like that one is really good news. I'm actually happy that they're kind of ramping him up slowly.
Yeah. If they weren't, I would be a little like, what the heck is going on? But also you don't want to do it too fast. I mean, he had the worst injury you could have other than like maybe what happened to Alex Smith. Like, ACL is no joke. So that's great news. Great news, Steph. Way to end it on a positive note.
I'm not done actually.
That's not the end.
No, I have one more. So D Ford, Kyle Shanahan also said there's a chance that he suits up on Sunday. So again, like another player that like we've been very anxious to see. We've been hearing really good things about all through camp, and so it'll be really nice to see him out there on the field again after being away for so long. One thing to keep an eye on: no Greenlaw or Jason Verrett to start practice today. So we'll keep an eye on that. See if that's anything to be concerned about.
Hopefully not.
Yeah. Sorry to end it on.
I know. You should have flipped that around. It's fine. Whoops. It's fine. Also, I just heard a little noise that my headphones are dying, so hopefully that doesn't become a problem here. But we'll figure it out. We ride. Okay. So obviously the 49ers played a game this weekend, and they won. They defeated the Los Angeles Chargers 15-10. They prevailed. And I almost said San Diego Chargers. It's still like not weird. It's still weird. It's so weird. But once again, it is what it is. So yeah, they won 15-10. Even if their future under center remains uncertain, but we're gonna get to that a little later. I know we always talk about the quarterbacks. Never
plenty to say.
Never a shortage of that. So let's talk about some of the 49ers players who came out on top following Sunday's game, and then we'll discuss who fell short. So there were obviously some winners from Sunday's game, and one of those is Deommodore Lenoir. We talk about this guy a lot, which is exciting because he's a 5th-round pick. I mean, who would have thought that this guy would come onto the team and start making waves as quickly as he has? What do you think, Steph? Is he another late-round diamond for the 49ers? What did you see from him on Sunday?
I continue to call the 5th round the money round for John Lynch because he remains undefeated in the 5th round. You think about Lenoir and Hufanga, who have both just been exceeding our expectations. Lenoir, I mean, he's doing better than Ambry Thomas is right now, which, we'll take it because one good player is better than two bad players. So, we're happy for him. He's putting up incredible stats. So currently he's allowing a passer rating of 0. Like that's really impressive. Yeah. In the game, was it Sunday, Saturday? Sunday. He allowed 1 reception on 6 targets for 9 yards, and he has 1 interception and 1 pass breakup. Actually, that might be his stats for both games, but that's still really, that's really impressive. And it honestly, like he's been playing against, like he had some snaps against Tyreek Hill in that first game, and he held his own very well. Something that a lot of veterans aren't able to do, right? So
Yeah.
very excited for him.
And like you said, those stats are for the first 2 games, but to put that in perspective, that's 100 snaps that he's played, and he's playing at this extremely high level. Granted, a lot of those snaps are coming against second string and third string guys, but here's my deal. Like, I know we make a big deal about preseason and who's second and third string. Think about the percentage of players that are actually drafted to play in the NFL. Like, it's still the top tier players in the country and in the world. So, I mean, I expect big things from him. I think if he, starts, we'll see, but he's going to make an impact even against first string players. So big ups to him. And they call him Demo, right?
Demo. Yeah. Is
it
Demo or Demo? It can't be Demo, right?
No way it's Demo. I think it's Demo. So we got Debo and Demo. So Bo and Mo. I don't know. That rhymed. Okay, so another winner from the game. We got JaMycal Hasty on the list. I mean, I think Hasty is a lock for the 53-man roster. It's basically between him and Wayne Gallman. I don't know. We could talk about what he did on Sunday. He rushed for 58 yards on 19 carries. The bright spot for me was that he had 3 receptions for 21 yards. So that shows that he can also catch passes. Granted, Gallman looked a little more efficient on Sunday running the ball. He had 14 more yards on 4 less attempts. So, Steph, who are you going with? If you had to pick between these 2 guys, it's a competition right now.
Right, definitely. And you said it, like last week, I was kind of, I was thinking that Hasty kind of gave Gallman a run for his money. In the game versus Chargers, Hasty still played well, but Gallman, played a little bit better. I still think that I would give the edge to Hasty, and I don't know if that's just like some kind of bias that I have because he's been on the team for a couple of years now, and I'm rooting for him. But I don't know, there's just something about him. He's like very gritty, and his cuts are just scary. Like if I was
he's the Shanahan running back.
Yeah, like I mean, if I was running towards him as a defender, I'd be so scared of him, like cutting right in front of me, breaking my ankles. Like he runs hard, and that's something that I. Yeah, those high ankle sprains, man.
Exactly. You're done. Cool. So you're going Hasty over Gallman.
I think I would go Hasty. Yeah,
I agree.
And I wish there was a site that would tell me who is eligible for practice squad and who isn't, so that I can look it up and not have to do all this math in my head. Because I wonder if they would let Hasty go to get him on the practice squad and Gallman sticks around, because I don't know if Gallman is eligible for practice.
Like
squad.
whatever they're able to do with what those players can be done with. That was not good English. I'm sorry. But I
think they'll both stick around through the cut to 53 only because Elijah Mitchell is hurt right now. Yeah. So I think when Elijah Mitchell comes back, we might see one of them get cut.
Yeah. Moving on to the next winner from Sunday. This guy, Talenoa Hufanga.
Another friend of the pod. I don't never met him.
We gotta stop saying. He literally has no idea who we are, but we love him. He only had 1 tackle during Sunday's game, but it was an important one. It was for a 2-yard loss for the Chargers at the 2-minute mark. Then they ended up having to punt on that same possession. And we all know what that led to. A Trey Lance led drive down the field that led to the 49ers' first touchdown. So that just goes to show how 1 tackle can make a difference in a game. And it's important to have a guy like Hufanga who can tackle. I mean, it speaks for himself. We all know he's a roster lock, but will he be a starter? I think he's starting to make a push for a starting role, which is super exciting. What are your thoughts on Talenoa? And he's got a dope ass name. I mean, come on.
Oh yeah, I know it, and I say it correctly, so I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah, like you said, Shanahan did say that he had an opportunity to compete for the starting job. Of course, that was before Jaquiski Tart came back. So I don't think, I don't think Tart's position is being questioned in any way. But it'll be interesting to see what they do because Tavon Wilson was actually playing pretty well in Tart's place as well. So it'll see how the depth chart kind of falls. We'll see. I guess, if Tart's starting, it doesn't really matter who's after him unless Tart gets hurt again. So,
right.
Which at that point,
oh my God, what just happened back there?
Some ghosts back here, my little.
I got my cat hanging itself. You have like an earthquake going on in Colorado, apparently.
Because I just moved, right? So like I kind of prop all these things like every episode. I kind of just put it up here. I haven't actually put any of this. This is not what my desk actually looks like on a daily. I'll slowly get some things up on the wall so that that doesn't happen.
I missed the little chalkboard from our first episode.
I still have the chalkboard. I do have to bring it back. I agree.
It's a work in progress.
Had any statements. I haven't had any like definitive statements to make on the chalkboard in quite a bit. So
that's true. The first one just said 49K pod, and that's I mean, fun, but cool. Yeah. So moving on, Jalen Moore, another 5th round pick. Dude, the 5th round. I mean,
he was 5th round too. Yeah, they made 3 selections in the 5th round.
Yeah, and another good one. I mean, he was in again at left tackle this week, held his own. I think he can fit nicely into that swing tackle position and support McGlinchey and Williams. So, what are your thoughts on Jalen Moore from Sunday?
Yeah, again, like the 5th round players are giving like the earlier round players kind of a run for their money. I need to stop saying run for their money. I need to come up with something.
It's another phrase. What you're trying to say? They're nipping at their heels. I don't know. There you go.
Nipping at their heels. So like I said, Lenore's playing better than Ambry Thomas. Jalen Moore had been doing better than Aaron Banks. Of course, Banks is hurt right now, but even before he was hurt, he was playing better than him. So it's really encouraging to see a 5th round pick, put up these types of games. And, I think they have their swing tackle of the future, which is a good thing because a lot of people were worried about offensive line. And, I think having him adds a little bit of security. He's a rookie, so you don't always expect them to be good right off the bat. Again, the same thing with Aaron Banks. We're going to give him the benefit of the doubt. We're going to be patient with him. But Moore, he's come on really nicely, really fast. So I think that's always good to see.
Yeah. So that's our last winner. I mean, we could probably pick more, but
you know what? I did add another one.
Let's hear
last minute at the 11th hour, because I was rewatching the game versus the Chargers, and Kentavious Street actually was standing out to me quite a bit. So I kind of added him as a winner as well. If it came down to like Street and Givens, which that's something we've been talking about, I feel like Street would have the edge just based off of that game. And of course, Givens has another shot, this upcoming Sunday. But Street, he had 1 sack, 2 tackles for loss, 1 QB hit on 33 snaps. That's pretty good.
Damn.
He was only in on 49% of the snaps. So
he made an impact when he was in.
Exactly. So I'd give him the edge right now. So he's a winner in my book.
Yeah. We talked a lot about Richie James last week, and unfortunately, he is the first loser on our list. That sounds mean as hell, dude. He's not a loser.
You didn't have to say it like that.
I know. I said it
He's
wrong.
He's a loser.
He's just an underperformer, a sinker, if you will, from Sunday. He didn't really do anything to help his case, and we know that he needed to help his case. And these first 2 preseason games, he's only had 5 targets and he's dropped 2 of them. So that's a 40% drop rate. He's going to have to ball out if he wants to make this roster, because we saw on Sunday just how capable Travis Benjamin is. I mean, he can actually catch the ball when you throw it to him. So that's a good thing. And I mean, I'll give him the benefit of the doubt because it's only 5 targets. That's the smallest sample size ever. And he does have that special teams ability that kind of, boosts him up a little bit.
Yeah.
What are you thinking about our friend Richie James?
Yeah, I mean, I've mentioned it before that I thought like maybe he would stick around just because he has that special teams ability. But so do Travis Benjamin and Nasimba Webster. So
if you can play football, you can play special teams. I'm sorry.
Wow.
I mean,
no respect for the special teams unit.
I mean, not no respect, but Travis Benjamin is athletic AF. Like, of course, you know what I'm saying? Yeah.
He's looked good. And that's what I'm saying. Like he's rising to the occasion while Richie James, his stock just continues to fall. And, we were talking about it, like with Brad, like if, your job is on the line, like you have to make those catches. And we saw him, drop another pass. I will say this though, and this, if we can segue to a quick topic here. Do you think Trey Lance like
throws too hard?
Too hard? Yeah, like he's throwing darts out there, and like
I was gonna say that. I was like, in Richie's defense, like I don't know how much more difficult it is to catch a 400 mile per hour spiral. Because
even Ayuk has like dropped 1 or 2.
Well, Debo dropped 1. Like Benjamin on that touchdown, like he was like the way he caught it, it was like I'm surprised he held on to it because that thing was freaking like flying. So I'm glad you brought that up. I honestly don't know enough to know like if that's something that Mike McDaniel would be like, hey bro, stop throwing it so hard. Like, I don't know. Do you know?
I mean, I don't know. I mean, I think Kyle Shanahan said like they have to catch it, like in terms of the drops and stuff like that. So I think the expectation is like if you're a receiver, you have to drop it no matter how hard the ball is coming at you, right?
You have to catch it.
It's funny because like Colin Kaepernick kind of had like a similar issue. Like he would throw it really hard all the time too, and he didn't always like throw with touch. Which we know that Lance could because he did have that not touchdown, that pass to Sherfield, and he had some nice touch on that pass.
Yeah.
So he could do it. I guess like maybe he just has to know when. There are times when throwing it like really hard and fast will it comes to an advantage because like if you have a window closing between 2 defenders or something like that, like you can really get it in there, but maybe he doesn't have to throw it that fast all the time. He has to learn that balance, I guess.
Next time I see Kyle Shanahan, I'm going to ask him about that. Friend of the pod. All right, let's move on to our next loser. Sorry, that's so mean. We gotta think of something better than winners and losers. What's something like more happy, I'm gonna go back to the drawing board for next week and think of something because I don't want to get like
down.
Yeah, I don't want people to think that we're mean.
Players whose stock is down.
No good player this week.
No stonks.
Anyway, our next one, whatever he is, a loser guy that didn't perform as good as he could, Robbie Gold. What,
dude?
ACAB. He missed his second extra point in as many preseason games on Sunday. Why are we missing extra points? Why?
Right.
Why do we still have extra points? Get rid of extra points.
Get rid of kickers entirely.
Yeah, we don't need them. If this is your first time listening to the podcast, kickers do not matter. Carry on, Steph.
ACAB.
With a K.
With a K, yeah. No, in all seriousness, like this has been an issue for Gold dating back to last season. So it's a little concerning, especially because he got his little extension. It's a little concerning to see him missing these routine kicks. So while, we don't think about kickers or punters all that often unless they miss. But if this becomes like a regular occurrence, something's got to happen, and I don't know what, because we don't have any other kickers. But
well, and I mean, look how much money he's making. Like, this is ridiculous.
Exactly,
This
yeah.
is ridiculous.
So I mean, I don't think his job isn't in jeopardy right now, but no. I'm not too happy with him right now.
Right, because I mean, every point matters,
Yeah.
I mean, I know we say get rid of, or I said get rid of PATs, but like they're still there, and you still got to make them. So that's no bueno, Robbie, but I still love you. Those are all the losers I had written down. See, that sounds terrible. I'm not gonna stop saying it though. Those were the 2 losers I had. Did you have any more that you wanted to mention?
No, I mean, I had BW Webb, but he's
turf toe.
He's gone now.
He also got turf toe, didn't he? That
Did
game?
he?
Yeah, I think so.
I don't know, but he's gone.
Don't
now,
quote me on
so
that.
He got waived. So
R.I.P. That's why you said the writing was on the wall for that one.
yeah.
So, cool. So we talked a little bit about some of the competitions that are going on. We talked about Hasty versus Gallman. We touched a little bit on Richie James versus Travis Benjamin, and Nasimba Webster is also in that mix. That's not a new conversation. We've known that the receiving competition has been going on since training camp began. But what about the linebackers, Steph? What's the situation there, and who's looking to make that 53-man?
Yeah, it's going to be tough. They have some really tough decisions to make at linebacker. I think they'll probably keep like 5 or 6. And it really comes down to Flanagan, Fowles, Griffith, Hilliard, or Elijah Sullivan. That is a lot. Yeah. I mean, I think Elijah Sullivan, he hasn't really done much, so he's probably at the bottom of the pecking order there. Hilliard, you could probably get away with cutting him and stashing him onto the practice squad, and you'd feel confident about him making it back to the practice squad and not getting poached. So it it really comes down to Griffith and Flanagan and Fowles, and I think that there might be a chance for both of them to stick around, but we'll see what happens in this next game versus the Raiders. And then, yeah, like I said, in our next episode, we'll put our GM hats on, and we'll make that decision, see which one of them goes, which one of them stays.
Yeah, and obviously that conversation is also going to be one we're going to have about the D line, which I mean played its ass off on Sunday. I don't know if you want to answer this question we just got first, but I just wanted to ask what you think if any of these defensive line guys that we have who, the depth was just next man up on Sunday, just full of guys performing. Do you think that they're going to trade any of those players? And do you think it would be smart to?
Right. Just very quickly, Ryan, thanks for the question. Do I think Marcel Harris will get cut? Yeah, yes. I mean, no, I mean, I don't know. He's probably not in a good position to stay on the team at this moment. And I believe he's practice squad eligible. So, that could be
good news for him.
Yeah, that could be a benefit to him and to the team if they can stash him there. As far as the defensive line goes, it would be great if they can get a trade going, because you would hate to be in a situation where you have to cut a really good player. I mean, we've seen like all these guys on defensive line, like a lot of them are really good. There's going to be at least 1 or 2 guys who've been making noise throughout camp and preseason who will end up getting cut. So you'd like to get some value back for them at least. And there are teams in need for defensive linemen, especially pass rushers. So we'll see. It's funny because in the last few years, the 49ers weren't ever really deep on pass rushers. And like now they kind of finally are, and we're talking about trading them away. It's just kind of
right. Here we are.
It's
We've
just
come
kind of
so
funny.
far.
Yeah, right. So yeah, I hope so. I hope someone will make a trade. We'll see.
Yeah. And that was a lot to cover from Sunday's game. Steph and I were a little nervous because we don't have a guest this week. So we're like, what are we going to talk about? But I think we did fine. Let's move on into our next segment. I think this is only our second time doing this segment. We didn't have it when we had guests, but cap or no cap. People liked this last time we did it. So if you don't know what cap is, like if that's cap, like it's BS, cap. So our cap or no cap this week, it kind of changed literally right before we started the podcast, and I'll get into that. And yeah, I don't know if you want on Twitter. It was kind of a big deal. Twitter is probably blowing up the past 40 minutes we've been talking. So after the game on Sunday, Kyle said that nothing has changed when it comes to his previous comments about Jimmy G being the clear starter. So we're asking cap or no cap on that, but I kind of want to give some details on that. So he was asked, Kyle, are you ready to name Jimmy G the starter? And he said, no, I'm not making that announcement. Nice try, though. And he smirked, as Kyle does. He's very good at speaking and not saying anything. We love it. Gives us so much to speculate and talk about. And they asked him, when. He said he's not in a hurry to name a starting quarterback, but promised that it would come before the season opener on September 12th against the Detroit Lions. He said he's going to make the announcement whenever I feel like it, quote unquote. It's hard for me to give a date. He said it's based off when we know and when we feel like naming it. I promise it will be by that Sunday. So that right there, it's based off when we know. So you don't know?
I thought that same thing, because I did see that quote, and it's just so, it's very tricky to decipher like what he's saying, like what he isn't saying. Like it's like, what do you mean? And it's like sometimes I know it's intentional, and other times like I don't think it is, but it still leaves me scratching my head. I mean, Kyle Shanahan, best poker player there ever was. I think.
So on one hand, he just said he's not announcing it and he'll announce it when they know. I'm not making that up. That's what he said. And then he was also asked if anything's changed, since the beginning of training camp, when he said coming into training camp that Jimmy Garoppolo is week 1 starter. And he said, no, I haven't seen that. So AKA nothing's changed. He went on to say, I would love for it to be more and more each week, but the situation is pretty similar right now. So that means he would have liked to feel more confident in that statement as time went on. But that hasn't happened, but it's still the same case that Jimmy G presumably is the week 1 starter. So a lot of mixed signals here from Kyle. And I want to ask cap or no cap, but I feel like I have to add in what Jimmy G just said during his press conference today. Yeah. And did you hear that?
I did, and it was that's what I was talking about. It was also the smile seen around the world. Like,
it's terrifying. So they asked Jimmy if the media during the press conference asked Jimmy if he knew who the week 1 starter was going to be. And here's what he said. And his eyes lit up, just pure joy on his face. That's the only way I could describe it. He said, yeah, I have a pretty good idea. And he's smiling. And then he said, it's whatever he decides. I have a pretty good idea. I'm pretty happy with where I'm at and everything. ... I'm omitting some stuff here. Kyle's the head man and he'll make the call. I mean, are you going to be saying I have a pretty good idea and smiling of course, I feel like honestly, after everything we've seen so far this preseason, I feel like he would be happy for Trey if Trey was a starting quarterback. But I mean, he looked really happy. He looked like a guy who the weight of the world had been lifted off of his shoulders. Okay. So what are we thinking? Cap or no cap? I don't know.
What's the question?
I don't know. Like
nothing has changed?
Yeah. Yeah, there we go. That's the cap or no cap. Has anything changed? Is Kyle being straight up that nothing has changed and that Jimmy, what he said coming in to the season was that Jimmy was going to be the week 1 starter. He said over the weekend, nothing has changed. Is that cap or no cap?
Oh, man. It's tough, man. He's playing us like a fiddle. I'm going to say no cap because I'm going to say no cap because to this point, I do still think that Jimmy Garoppolo is going to start week 1. But that being said, I still think anything can happen. We still got 2 weeks left, right? So anything can happen in that point. If anything, I think he's trying to indirectly maybe nudge Lance a bit, like, you still got some work to do. You played great, but you're not there quite yet. So, keep playing hard. I don't know.
Yeah. I think it's inevitable that Jimmy will be starting week 1. And there are so many good arguments both for and against that. There are so many good arguments both for and against Trey Lance starting week 1. And I mean, honestly, that's good news for the 49ers that they have 2 guys that a lot of people think could start week 1. So I think I'm reading into it a little bit too much when he said it's based off of when we know. Because in my head, I'm like, you don't know yet. But really, I think it's just Kyle being Kyle. It's just Shanahan shenanigans. That should be be a new segment.
Right.
It's just Shanahan shenanigans. He's just doing what he does best, and he knows how big of a part media and fan engagement plays into this process, I think. And I think, like you said, he knows how to play it like a fiddle, maybe even a saxophone. Like I imagine him, Kenny G, just like, you will never know who starts. Yeah. So I don't know.
Yeah.
So we're both saying no cap.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
We're going
we
with
always,
that.
Why do we always have the same answer?
Because
okay. So it was one thing that Grant Cohn actually pointed out just yesterday, which, we're talking about Shanahan always saying the right things to confuse us and all this stuff. But he like stopped himself from saying something that I think maybe he thought he had been saying a little too much. Said, I'm just trying to get him, talking about Lance, I'm just trying to get him better and get him ready for, and he cut himself off and like kind of just started a completely new sentence. Like, he didn't even finish that one.
Yeah, and if you're wondering what we're talking about, go to Grant Cohn's Twitter, and he tweeted the clip. That's Grant Cohn.
Let's see if I could
Illustrated.
Play it really quick.
I'm just trying to get him better and get him ready for the. So we try to work on the things to get better at.
Like, dude,
play it one more time. One more time.
Was it loud enough?
Yeah.
Turn it up.
I'm just trying to get him better and get him ready for the. So we try to work on the things to get better at. I'm just trying to get him better and get
ready for
like
what?
He didn't, right. So he didn't even finish that sentence. He was like, "Oh, my bad."
But also, like, he was gonna say ready to play, and like knew that would sail off into the Twitterverse and like just and he was just like, I'm not even gonna freaking deal with that.
Yeah,
like,
that's what I think.
I don't know. I think he just has to be careful with every little thing he says. I mean, look at what we're doing right now with like 2 sentences of what he said and what everyone does with everything he says. So, I mean, that quote right there where he stops mid-sentence is a little weird, but I wouldn't, again, read too much into it. But it also makes me go,
right.
Is there something that he's keeping from us?
See, that's what I'm saying. Like, it's like he keeps saying, yeah, nothing has changed, like, from the beginning, like, Jimmy's our starter. And then there'll be like something like this that happens that like just gives you that little inkling of like doubt that, maybe what he's saying isn't true. So it's just so weird. And maybe again, it's one of those situations where we're reading too into it and we're hearing what we want to believe, or our minds are filling in the blanks to be whatever we want it to be, right?
Yeah, as humans do.
So
yeah. So let us know if you think Kyle is capping or not capping. We're gonna continue talking about quarterbacks, unfortunately. So let's dive into I said, unfortunately, I'm sick of this shit. I'll be honest. I just want to know, and I feel like we do kind of know, but we don't know,
and that's the thing. Like, remember what you said, and Kyle actually just said it today because people asked him, why haven't you just named a starter? He said there's no advantage to that, and you've been saying that. Like, what would be the advantage?
Right now, the Lions, as of right now, they have to prepare for two completely different quarterbacks. So, Ryan commented and said, Cap.
Ooh, okay. I think you accidentally muted yourself. Oh, your headphones died. Her headphones died, people. I can't hear you. Can't hear you. Let's see. Now I got Kenny G stuck in my head.
It muted me. Sorry.
Oh, that was weird.
That was weird. Are you getting any feedback of yourself when you talk? Okay, so we're good. Sorry about that. So yeah, Ryan just said Cap. So we got good. I'm glad we have an adversary here to keep us on our toes. So yeah, let's move into, I know we talked a lot about Sunday's game already, but we didn't talk about how the quarterbacks played, which is what, I mean, all eyes on them, you know. Yeah. I would argue that this is one of the hottest topics in the NFL right now, who's going to start week 1 for the 49ers, because so many people have so many differing opinions on it, which has been fun to talk about, to read about, to see. So let's talk about Garoppolo. He completed 3 of 6 passes for 15 yards on that opening drive that he played. And don't forget, he had a 10-yard scramble for a first down in the middle of that series. Yeah.
He looked good. He looked spry.
He looked spry. He looked mobile. Could be fun. I tweeted about it. I said mobile Jimmy, and like my friend was laughing at me. And I was like, you know what? I will take a 10-yard gain for a first down from Jimmy. You know, like we don't see him run a lot. So it was exciting.
Better than a sack, honestly. So
yeah. So obviously though, what we have to talk about is that final pass attempt that was picked off.
Yeah.
And gosh, did it light people on fire. Obviously it was a high pass. There's no arguing about that. It was a high pass to Brandon Ayuk that Ayuk had to jump for. It touched his hands. It would have been an amazing catch. A lot of people think he should have caught it. A lot of people think that the starting quarterback should hit his receivers in the numbers. So it's basically whatever you want to decide. And I will add, he was wide open. It wasn't like a perfectly placed throw to avoid the defenders or anything. So yeah, I mean, what did you think about that first series from Jimmy G? And there were plans for him to come back into the game later, and he never did. And I think Kyle Shanahan said that was because something with the second and third string, right? And he didn't want him playing with those guys, or everyone got their reps basically.
Yeah, and also it was I think that was it because it was a really long drive. It was like nearly 8 minutes. Yeah. So I mean, I think they saw everything they wanted to, and you know, I was saying, I tweeted out that after he threw the interception, okay, that drive was a full Jimmy Garoppolo experience because it really was. It's a roller coaster. You never know what Jimmy you're going to get on any given throw, or play. He'll do the scramble, which is great. Then he'll overthrow someone. He checks it down for 5 yards, which isn't bad, but again, that's just who Jimmy Garoppolo is. Exactly. So, and I think the fact that it ended in an interception, it's that's Jimmy Garoppolo. He'll give you these good plays, and then he'll give you a drive killing play as well.
I think that's exactly the problem that you just pointed out, is that's the Jimmy G that we've known prior to 2021. And we all came into 2021 hoping that there might be some improvements. I haven't seen anything that I haven't seen before from Jimmy G. I don't know about you.
Exactly.
He's just an average quarterback that can get the job done for the most part, but there's nothing truly exciting about it. And I think that's fine. That's fine. You can win with that. Obviously, when you have such a stellar team around you, you can win with that. So let's talk about Trey Lance. He came on for the next possession after that interception, and he played the remainder of the first half and into the third quarter. He finished 8 of 14 for 102 yards, and he also had 2 touchdowns and an interception. So it was like the tale of interceptions, because his was also a high pass that was deflected and intercepted. So Twitter was super fun on Sunday. If you're not on Twitter during games, like I don't know what you're doing because it's totally not annoying at all. So what did you see from Lance? Obviously, he got into a rocky start. He got off to a rocky start. He completed just one of his first 6 passes, and he had an interception and was sacked in that span. So at first, I know you tweeted that meme, the Spider-Man meme of them like pointing at each other, and you said Trey Lance and Jimmy G. Dude, everyone was bagging on Trey when he first came in. What do you think?
Yeah, no, it was definitely a rocky start for him. After watching the game over though, like I feel like it wasn't entirely his fault. I just think he couldn't get in rhythm. And again, like it wasn't completely his fault. So the first drive ended on a Debo drop. So, and that would have been enough for a first down. So like right then that kills any momentum like you were trying to go for. And that pass to Debo was a little high, but it touched his hands, so he should have caught it. We'll get more into, who to blame on these drops and interceptions later in our Twitter tizzy. But yeah, like that kills your momentum. Then the second drive ended on a Sanu drop, and that was the interception. Again, just like had that been caught, you continue your drive, you get into a rhythm. Who knows what would have happened after that? But so 2 back-to-back drives that end, not quite how you wanted them to. And, that could kind of get into your head a bit. One interesting thing about his interception was that was only Lance's second interception thrown in a game since high school.
I wonder how many
that's
interceptions
incredible.
Jimmy G has thrown since high school. There
More than
obviously
2.
Jimmy G has played way more, so it's not a great comparison.
More than 2 though.
That's crazy.
Yeah, and again, like so at that point in the game, Lance was 1-4 for 0 yards, and his passer rating was 0. So like, I'm sure he didn't feel too great about that. No rhythm.
Passer rating is 0. That'll do it.
Yeah, but like you said, you mentioned the stats that he finished with, and he also finished with a passer rating of 89.9. So the fact that he can go from 0 to 89, he did a lot better. In
he was 1 of 6, and then he went 7 of 8. So he really got it together.
Yeah, and probably the most impressive drive that I saw was one right before halftime when he only had 57 seconds left.
Yes. I was like, if he scores right here, like this is impressive.
Yeah, like everything is forgotten.
Yeah.
Okay, not everything, but like,
what happened.
Yeah, no, definitely. And Kyle Shanahan also said like he wanted to see how Lance would do after the interception, how he would react, especially being that like he rarely throws them. So it's something that's different for him, right? I would say he did pretty well after that interception. So we mentioned the touch pass to Sherfield for 41 yards. That was a thing of beauty, like beautiful. Yeah. And then he had a touchdown pass to Sanu between 2 defenders. Again, he like drilled that thing in there, like that thing was coming hot.
I just love that Lance to Sherfield connection, like. Right? When you get those goosebumps when like a quarterback and a receiver have chemistry and it just shows, like I'm all about it. Who do you think is going to be wide receiver 3 on this team? Because Sherfield's been showing out, but then like you said, Sanu ain't bad, and he's a veteran.
Right. It was funny because I saw someone even say like, oh, like I think they'll cut Sanu and like bring him back or something like that. That would be weird. I don't know. I don't envision them cutting like Sanu or Sherfield at this point. I think whoever is the starter at quarterback might dictate who's the wide receiver 3. Because like you said, I almost feel like Lance has this, undeniable chemistry with Sherfield. And, they make big plays together. So I would kind of put Sherfield at wide receiver 3 if Lance is the starter.
Yeah. And while Lance does have great chemistry with Sherfield, it's not looking like he's got a lot of chemistry with anyone else, because he has the most dropped passes in preseason of any quarterback. Is that correct?
Yeah, I believe so.
With 7. So,
7,
yeah, per Taylor Worth of NBC Sports Bay Area, through those
friend of the pod.
Friend of the pod. We actually do know each other in real life, so I'm not just saying
I've never
that.
met him, but yeah, I know he's your friend.
Yeah, Steph, you'll meet him. He's great. Through 2 preseason games, Trey Lance is 13 of 28 passing. So that's 48. Oh, sorry, that's 46%. And if these passes were caught, he would be 20 of 28. That's 71%, which is pretty damn good. And mind you, these drops are just bad drops. They're passes that should be completed. Like, it's not like they're, for the most part, like terrible throws. I know accuracy has been something that people are worried about with Trey Lance, but these throws that are being dropped are not horribly inaccurate throws, and they're passes that receivers should be receiving. So if you figure in him starting a game with Ayuk and Deebo Samuel, I mean, I know we just talked about how Deebo and Ayuk are dropping passes, but God, we hope during the season they'll be catching these. So it'd be interesting to see what he would be capable of and how those drives would continue, if some of these passes would be dropped, and like how many touchdowns he would have this preseason if some of those passes were caught. I think I just said if they were dropped. I meant if they were caught. But yeah, what do you think, Steph?
Yeah, and I agree. Like we talked about earlier, those drops, those interceptions, they kill drives, right? It keeps your momentum from, going. And I don't know. I think for a rookie quarterback, momentum and rhythm is important.
Confidence.
Also, exactly. And another thing we talked about was, how hard he's throwing. So whether or not that is a contributor to this stat, very well could be.
It could be.
That's something that, both sides need to work on. Lance throwing with better touch, and receivers, just becoming used to catching balls coming in that hot. So
yeah,
they'll work through it, I think.
Yeah, and then we also had another percentage on here that Trey Lance is actually the most accurate rookie quarterback when targeting past the sticks this preseason, with 64.3%.
That's impressive.
Yeah,
that's really impressive.
Yeah, there's so many things to be impressed about, but like we saw in that first half of his play this Sunday, there's some things that still make you go, But like
maybe he's not ready yet.
But isn't that almost any quarterback? Things that make you go woo, and things that make you go So, and he's a rookie.
Yeah.
So I mean, I'll give him the benefit of the doubt. Like we said earlier, I still think Jimmy G is gonna be the week 1 starter, especially after Jimmy G like beaming that Colgate smile up at the podium today. I think it said it all. So we're gonna get into the Twitter tizzy. I've been so excited to talk about this. This is freaking hilarious. Okay. So I even posted about this. Literally, I don't even think the play had finished. The ball had already been tipped off of Ayuk's hands and intercepted off the Garoppolo pass that we discussed earlier. And I mean, before the play was even over, you had people just taking to Twitter to post their thoughts about the interception. And honestly, it might have been literally 50-50. You had 50% of people saying, what the hell, Brandon Ayuk? Like, how are you not catching that? That pass hit your hands. Those need to be caught. This interception is on you, dude. And then you had the other 50% of people asking, why the heck is Jimmy Garoppolo throwing his ball so high that his receivers have to leap to catch it, basically? And At first, I wasn't sure if Ayuk had to jump, and I went back and watched it like several times from different angles, and he literally left the ground. So, and we talked a little bit about it before. It's not like he was in like double coverage or something and had to jump up, and this ball had to be perfectly placed out of the reach of defenders. Like, he was pretty much wide open, and it might have even been a touchdown if he had caught it. So that was interesting to see. It was interesting to see how many people blamed Ayuk and how many people blamed Garoppolo, and how people couldn't quite come to a consensus on it. So, Steph, thoughts?
Well, I just thought it was funny that people did all this arguing about it, and then Trey Lance comes out and does the same thing. So, like, if there was any bias to like who you were blaming, it's like that went out the window. After Lance
no, and as soon as that Trey Lance interception happened, the people that were saying it was Ayuk's fault reversed course, and we're like, oh, like, and then, like, vice versa, so, oh my God, that was a hoot.
Yeah. I mean, typical 49ers Twitter, right? There's such thing as it being like the fault of both of them, right? Like,
exactly.
As a quarterback, you should be throwing accurately. If you don't, and it's an incompletion, yes, that is partially your fault. As well, if you are a receiver and the ball hits your hands, especially with two hands, if it's just like one and it tips, then like, I'd probably let that go. But if the ball touches both of your hands, like, yeah, I tend to believe that you could catch that. So in both cases, I think it was, partially both were at fault.
Yeah.
And that's okay.
I'm gonna take a little bit of a different stance than you. I think that both were the quarterback's fault. For once, I'm gonna say. I mean, obviously, everything you said is true. Like, obviously, if a ball is touching your hands, you should be catching it. Same goes, I know, in baseball. Ball touches your glove, no excuse for the most part. But also, let's make good throws, right?
Yeah.
That's how you win, is by making good throws. And there's a difference between a good throw that's placed in a certain way intentionally, and there's a difference between sitting back too far and just sailing it over your receiver's head almost. So hey, Trey and Jimmy, don't do that. Whoever starts week 1, just don't do that, okay? We don't need more interceptions. For the love of God, please make it stop.
Right. Seriously.
So that's it, dude. We're done. That's all we had to talk about. Did we forget anything?
No, I don't think so. We just had to get back into the swing of things of, being solo dolo without any guests.
Yeah, it was weird.
Yeah, we'd like to get more guests on. So if you guys have any suggestions or want to, tag some people who you think we should, who you think should be a guest on our show, let us know.
Not anyone like too famous though, because like, don't get your hopes up. They don't respond to us.
We've tried.
Yeah, no, but we have had some amazing guests on the show so far. We look forward to having more. So I guess next week we're gonna be playing manager ahead of that final roster cut, and see what we would do if we were in charge. So, Crocker, someone just said Eric Crocker. That's a good one.
Oh yeah. Oh,
I would love to have him on. We'll hit him up, Brian. So yeah, thank you guys so much again, as always, for listening. If you haven't followed us on Twitter yet, you can follow us at 49K Pod. Be sure to subscribe to us on YouTube. I believe the handle is Stragosaurus.
It is, yeah. I can't change it.
We can change it. That's your YouTube channel, man. So you do it. I love Stragosaurus, so it's you. Yeah, follow us on Twitter, subscribe to us on YouTube. This episode is available anywhere you can download podcasts. And again, thanks for watching. Steph, anything you want to say to sign off?
That's it. Thanks for listening, guys. That's all, folks.
Thanks, guys. We'll see you next week.
All right. Peace.